Hello again, Mr. Pete. Welcome back to the Inner Sanctum, and this is episode number 100B of my What Is It Mystery Tool series. I hope you watched part A so you know what I'm talking about, but let's get right into it. First of all, let me say I was shocked at the number of people that knew every one of these, and several others knew most of them, so that was most interesting to see since I did not know what some of them were myself. But number one is a Diatest dial bore gauge made in Germany, a very expensive instrument. I was glad to get a hold of it. Perfect shape because it's been calibrated fairly recently. So with this set we can measure or inspect tiny holes, tiny bores, and it's super accurate. Typically we use this type of tool, which is a small hole gauges, Starrett. So the smallest one with the Starrett is what, from 125 to 200. These go much smaller than that, and in fact are available in many different sets, metric and standard, and some have many more probes than this. But essentially what these are is tiny little probes that expand like the small hole gauges. And I had this taped also where it says Diatest. That's the brand name. So these different probes can be removed. There's a nice little wrench, and it's not one of those cheap stamped wrenches either. It's a nice looking wrench, probably from Germany. And 8 different probes, as I said, starting with the very smallest. You get a little idea how tiny that actually is. And with the larger one here, the largest of the group, you can see it's a split ball just like the Starrett set. And when you squeeze them, it is pushing on the indicator. And it comes with a set of ring gauges, one for each size probe, if I'm using the correct term. I have never actually used one of these, and that's what the little standard actually looks like. They'd be super accurate, hardened metal, and this is the number 18. It would go with the number 18 probe. When I bought number 2 at the Restore a while back, not too long ago, it was only $3, and I bought it because foolishly I thought that this was a center punch for accurate punching, and you didn't need a hammer. You know, it's like a sliding hammer is what it is. So let me demonstrate what I thought it foolishly was for. I have some layout lines here on this piece of aluminum, not that I need them, but it's very sharp on the end, so I thought you would find your layout line very accurately with a magnifying glass, and then lift this up and mark it like a Starrett center punch, only cruder, using gravity. But no, wrong. When I was filming part A week ago, it just dawned on me before I actually turned the camera on that this is an ice pick. So you could use it like this if you had a big block of ice, because it's a sliding hammer, and then on this end you had the little hammer to, if you had a piece of ice in your hand, you could crush it just like a real stabber. Actually, when I first got this, I thought it was for performing lobotomies. You know, old Joe Kennedy had one of these in his toolbox. Okay, here's number 3, and surprisingly a vast number of people knew that this was a Dashbot. Many people also knew that it was a Dashbot from a coreless steam engine. And here it is in motion, just a little bit. But if you're interested in this and you want to see more of it, I have a video that I filmed several years ago at the same location, and it's more detailed, showing the coreless valves and all that. So I'll put that title down at the bottom of the picture right now. Check it out. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to put the Wikipedia definition of what a Dashbot actually is, and a very good comment that someone left in this video. So read those at the end of the video. Now, I was most familiar with Dashpots and became, first understood what they were from the old carburetors on my Chevrolets. And I believe these are Carters. Dashbots can have many different appearances. They don't all look the same, but they all have basically the same function, and that is to dampen. And the last item, of course, for the mailbox post, the base of it is a small block Chevy, or should I say small block GM. It could be a 283 or a 350 or whatever. I recognize it most from the very bottom here, because this is upside down, of course, because I did so many oil changes on these engines. I recognize the oil filter opening there. So a lot of people have that, probably half the people. Pretty simple one of the most common engines ever made. I don't know, they made 20 million of them or something under various guises.